Hey now, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and this is it. It's here. I am here to talk, spoiler talk, about Batman vs. Superman. I went and saw it again for the second time, which I knew I had to do. It was very important because I feel like my mind was all over the place in my first video. I knew I enjoyed it, but I couldn't quite. I had so many thoughts. I knew there was so much in this movie that I had to see it again to really focus everything, put it into perspective, really form a clear-cut opinion. Seeing Bruce Wayne in Metropolis right off the bat, and he was there at the end of Man of Steel when Zod was fighting Superman. I love that. What a better way to introduce the Ben Affleck Batman than to see him in Metropolis racing towards the carnage and the chaos, and him running into the smoke of the building debris and holding the little girl and just being angry. I love that. How can you not be behind Ben Affleck as Batman just from that image alone? That's also where we see the character that Scoot McNairy plays, Wallace, aka Wally, or at least Bruce Wayne calls him Wally, and when he said that I was like, holy shit, is that Wally West? But then when you see that the building was on his legs and he loses his legs, he's in a wheelchair, I'm like, okay, well maybe at some point in the future he'll become like a second Flash or something. And okay, let's see what happens here. You see that he hates Superman, he resents him because of what happened to him. He's the one who defiles the statue. So I'm like, okay, this is really interesting to have a character like this who has a pretty legitimate reason to hate Superman. And I was wondering where it was going to go. You see Lex Luthor use this guy's hatred to go into that UN meeting. But then, like when the senator realizes that she's kind of been duped, she notices the jar of piss or grandma's tea. And she looks over and Lex Luthor's seat is missing. And then kaboom! Like, I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was really interesting that Lex was almost framing Superman for this. I will say though, correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen it twice now. In both times, it looks like Lex just lets Mercy Graves die. His right-hand woman, his bodyguard, a character who, sure, she didn't say anything in the movie, but I just like the idea of Lex having this female bodyguard that, like, could potentially be a badass if we got a moment of her being a badass, and he let her die. Why? Like, why would you put that character from the animated series, at least I kind of grew up with her being with Lex, why would you put her here just to kill her like that? Lois Lane being a real journalist, a real investigative reporter. I loved it. I love Amy Adams in this movie and her researching this bullet that was untraceable, and she was trying to prove Superman's innocence, that he's not just going around and killing random people for the hell of it. I loved that. I loved how smart she was, and I also loved that we were at a place where her and Superman, Clark Kent, are so in love. They're living together, like they progress so much as a couple. That should bring us now to the nightmare scene, because when we saw that first clip of Batman, he's in that post-apocalyptic type city and the dark side symbol's there, and you see he gets ambushed by the Superman police. And you see Batman with a gun in this scene, and he's shooting people, and I was not into that. At the first time, I said, okay, well, if it's a dream scene, then fine, whatever. But when you see that it's not really a dream scene, that you get the moment where Bruce Wayne looks like he wakes up, but then the Flash shows up from the future, I guess. He's wearing some high-tech suit, and he's giving him a message. First, I was like, what the fuck? What was that scene about? I was trying to, like, I was more paying attention of, like, is that the Flash? What is he saying? I can't really hear him. Second time around, I heard him almost clear as day, where he says, you were right about Superman, that Lois Lane is the answer, and that you need to find something. I think he was saying kryptonite. But still, so what you're saying is that that scene was not a nightmare scene. It was the future, or a possible future, where, because in that scene, Superman says, "You took away her, you took away my world." Later on, he says to Lois Lane, "You are my world." So, at some point, Lois dying pretty much tears down Superman. It makes him become this tyranny, this guy who almost fully embraces the destruction of the world. And it's a scary thought. I don't love it, but it's very much the Injustice storyline in a lot of ways, and I can't deny that it's not fascinating. But let's talk about Batman once again. I can praise Ben Affleck all I want, because I think from an acting standpoint, from a physical standpoint, that training scene he has with the tire, I'm like, this guy's fucking huge. He's a badass. I totally buy him as Batman in those aspects. I love the costume, how it looked, but he kills. This Batman, without a doubt, kills, and he has no fucking problem with it. There's, like I said, there's moments of him with a gun, which I think is unacceptable. There's moments of him, like in the Batmobile, where he's whipping cars around and cars are blowing up, and he couldn't give any less of a shit. Him in the Batwing, he's shooting at people and blowing up cars with them in it, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. I'm okay with him, like when he went into that building and he beat the holy fuck out of those guys and was breaking arms, even looked like he broke one guy's neck. Extreme, yes, but could Batman do that? I've seen Batman do stuff like that before, where he is kind of a dick and he is willing to almost go there, but he never goes there. Zack Snyder said in the interview that his Batman does kill, and he tried to justify it by citing a bunch of stories where Batman's killed before and it's okay. The Tim Burton Batman killed. He claims Frank Miller's Batman killed. Whether that's true or not, that doesn't mean that I have to like it. My Batman, my personal Batman, doesn't kill. And that's just a thing. I can't go along with it. I can't. I'm sorry, but that's probably the biggest issue that I have with this movie. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I loved her. She was also a badass. Now, did we get a lot of her character? Did we get a lot of her backstory? Do I feel like I know her as a character? Like from this movie? Not really. Not really. But I liked her so much, and she looked so good in that end battle that I'm willing to say, hey, we're going to get her own movie next year. I can fucking wait. I can wait to get all of that. So I'm fine with it. And when she was looking at Luthor's files, the Metahuman Project, and she sees the videos of The Flash, Aquaman, Jason Momoa, and Cyborg, and it's even Cyborg's origin, which I'm surprised they just kind of revealed all of that. I've seen some people say that it was like too much beating over the head, or it was too like in your face. Justice League, I kind of thought it was cool. I don't know. Do we need to see all of it? Probably not, but it was something for the fans. A lot of things in this movie was clearly for fans, or clearly for people who know where it's coming from, or who knows what it means. When you see all these critics online who are bashing this movie and tearing it apart, a lot of them know nothing about any of this. A lot of them have never seen a comic book in their life. They know nothing about these characters, or what some of these stories mean, or growing up with these characters, that it's hard. I've seen some reviews of people who do love comic books and superheroes, and they still didn't like the movie, and that's fine, I guess. Maybe it's the fanboy part of me that I can't, or maybe there's things that I'm forgiving in this movie, I should say, that maybe I shouldn't. But if I didn't have a problem with it, I can't pretend like it's a problem. Jesse Eisenberg, I was okay with him a little bit more the second time around. I still don't care for some of his goofy moments at the very beginning, even that scene where he's delivering the speech and he's kind of like It's almost like he has Tourette's and he's just acting weird. I just don't get all of that. I don't get what the purpose of all of that is. But when you see him like creating Doomsday, or even at the very end where he gets his head shaved and the line he has against Batman, like he's coming and all this stuff, I'm like, okay, that's as close as Lex as Eisenberg could ever get. So I'm not going to shit all over him, I guess. But Doomsday. Yes, Doomsday. We all knew Doomsday was in the movie from that trailer. I kind of wish we didn't know that, because it's a cool reveal in the movie that like this is Lex's backdoor pocket, and the birth of Doomsday coming out was interesting. Seeing Doomsday fight Superman in any capacity was something that I almost thought I'd never see in a movie. It's been so long in the making, a long time coming. And would it have been more powerful to have this in a solo Superman movie, like a real Man of Steel sequel? Would all of this have been more powerful? Would the death of Superman been more powerful? Sure, but did we also want to see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in action going against Doomsday? Fuck yeah, I was totally into it. We still got some cool Doomsday Superman moments, like when you took him all the way up into space, they got hit with the nuclear bomb, and Superman in space almost looking like a skeleton was something that I never thought I would see in a movie, but that looked great. He gets his energy back from the sun, comes back down, the two of them doing the heat vision standoff with each other was also fucking epic. Superman hitting Doomsday with the spear and then getting speared in the heart himself, the two of them killing each other, it was very much the death of Superman. And I was almost like, wow, they're doing it. They're doing something that I've wanted to see for the longest time. Maybe there is a part of me that's just, I can't separate my fandom, my love for some of these stories that I know previously from comics or cartoons, that seeing it in live action, seeing it on the big screen is what I'm gravitating to the most. It's what I'm loving the most. I won't apologize for it though. I don't care. I don't care if some people have different opinions. That's cool, that's fine. But I won't let that change my opinion. I won't let that change my experience of how much I enjoyed the film. I did very much enjoy the film. It was almost surreal to see the funeral of Superman and them with the casket going off in there, and seeing Bruce Wayne talk to Diana Prince and talking about almost forming the Justice League. Just all of that was just, I loved it. I did. Now, is this movie perfect? No. Do I have issues? Yes. I voiced some of them. But do I think this movie deserves a 35% or whatever the fuck it is on Rotten Tomatoes? No. No. And that's, I've already given up on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't give a fuck what people say on there. Again, it's fine. It's totally fine if you don't like this movie. I don't care enough to argue. I'm just telling you, I'm letting you know what I thought of it, why I enjoyed it. There are some issues. There are some major issues, but I still can go with this movie. I still can enjoy this movie for what it is. So there you go. I hope I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Batman vs. Superman, since we're talking spoiler here. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!